greed thrives. It's the marginalized who pay the price. It's time to rewrite the story. Time to rise. We're breaking the chain.
$10.30.
Okay, so now we're back for part 3 of what was it that we called it? What was the title? You see, this is why I don't title.
Welcome to part 3.
What was part 3 again?
Welcome to part 3.
It was hemp versus
Cannabis.
Right. So
The real truth of hemp.
Yeah.
Yeah.
slash welcome to part
We're figuring out the title.
Not the end of
So
discussion,
we
but
can
the final
progress.
part of this conversation.
Right.
Yeah.
Mo did one
What does it all
marijuana,
mean?
and now he is.
We want to say also, since we were just saying this, happy birthday to Mike. You know,
Absolutely.
Happy birthday.
Shout out to Mike.
80 years old. You
Shout
said.
out to my birthday present from my new friend.
Mike, you said you're at 80 years old right now.
Edibles might not work, but the other stuff.
You are such a prick, Mo. Every time my age comes up, I get older in Mo's mind.
He said 85, yeah.
See?
Wow.
See?
Makes you feel like a great
last
grand.
week, Sam Wilson. You guys know Sam? Anybody else?
We're
know
too young
Sam?
for that.
Sam.
Support your weed man.
Oh, yeah.
Oh yeah, I know
He's
Sam.
I know
one of the
that.
owners of Prohibition
Oh,
Oh yeah,
THC, right?
him and Tyrone.
So
Yep.
yeah, so Sam and I, how am I doing here?
You already went over this in the first episode.
No.
You're good. You're good.
So Sam and I were talking a little bit, and now I'm high.
Yeah, you already went over that. Well, you also went over the story in the
Fuck
beginning.
no, fuck
In
you.
the beginning, he
Okay.
said he couldn't.
We're jumping back into THCA.
Let's get back
Yeah.
to the fucking round.
Yeah, let's get back into fucking round. So we're jumping right back into THCA.
Deb has
I
some
did
things
run
to
off.
say.
I did run off upstairs and did get the product
Yes.
for you to take a look at.
Funny side.
Yeah.
Allegedly.
So is that flour or is that popcorn? It says popcorn.
flour.
It's flour.
It's popcorn flour.
It's a
They little
small,
bitty,
tiny
the
small,
little
same
bitty
as
little bitty
smalls.
The
buds.
little runts, so to speak. Little bitty
What's
buds.
popcorn?
So you got to talk into the mic. We can hear you.
So this definitely
Okay. All right.
favors hemp.
Really?
Yeah, definitely.
What product and strain is that?
So I don't know the strain of
Where'd you
it,
buy
but
it,
I
Joe?
know the just from the textiles of how it's formed, the color of it, the variation of it. I mean, I would
you
love
can
to
tell
smoke
from
it
just
though.
looking at it that it's.
Bro, he's a
Yeah,
master
because
grower, for real.
so
Because
listen.
I've been trying, Vince. I've been trying. Like, there's people who've been showing us some stuff. And
So you know
we
they
went
got
to
this
Best in
flower
Grass
that's got
last
all
night.
this shiny stuff on it, right?
Yeah.
Everything's got all this shiny stuff. Everything's got.
I'm saying, but it's
4
overwhelming.
different
Like
colors in it.
it's literally white.
Yeah, it's sprayed.
Oh, I've
Oh, wow.
seen, yeah, okay, I've seen the
Like, the
sprays.
plant
The
doesn't
stuff
grow
that looks
like
like
that.
the
Shiny
Christmas
as hell.
snowballs,
There's
right?
the crystals on there,
Yeah,
something diamonds,
yeah,
right?
yeah.
Yeah.
It's diamonds.
Right.
White
You used to
diamonds,
spray your
yeah.
windows
Yeah,
with
yeah.
as a kid.
But it
Not
doesn't
him.
grow like that.
Right.
Yeah. It
So
doesn't
they
grow.
add in a layer of something to it. Like where does the diamond come from then? If it doesn't grow like that.
Genetics?
It's a genetic.
A genetic thing.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Okay.
It has to be genetics of the strain.
Okay.
When it's
So-
when it's natural.
When it's
Let's
natural.
say when it's natural, because you can cultivate particular strains that
So-
will
so-
give you that.
So this is hemp though all day long because regular cannabis. Now we just looked up some research, and so I'm gonna challenge that research that we looked up because regular cannabis.
Marijuana cannabis.
Yeah. Well, I call it regular.
Okay.
Reggie.
Yeah, it's regular. Compared to hemp, it has no dynamic over it at all. So I could never compare it to it. It's regular. The hemp is the mecca, right? And we love them both, but I'm just saying what it is.
And I got
Alright,
charged
so I-
35% taxes on that one.
You got charged what on it?
but
What
when
on
you,
35%
what I
taxes
wanted to
because it's
say,
above 35%.
when you purchased this,
Oh, yeah.
Clay.
you purchased this thinking you was buying regular cannabis, right?
Yeah.
All right.
Receipts in the bag too from the dispensary.
Yeah, yeah.
No, but
And he was
Can we
taxed on
smell
this.
it?
This is
I'm trying not.
Okay.
Yeah.
No,
I
No,
can
no,
figure
no,
it
no,
out.
no,
You
no.
can't open it. Oh, if you
because
open
the
it up,
nose,
then you
the
can't
nose
use
is
it in court.
important.
Yeah.
But no, if you're saving that, no worries.
He
But,
might
but,
be
but
using
what I
it
was
for
saying
his
that I was
Yeah,
challenging
see, look at
was
factory sealed.
Gotcha.
how could you
Did
have
you get more than one?
Not here.
You said how could you have what back?
so this saying is 0 THC?
It says it is.
Yeah,
How
On
many
the label.
THCA
On the
does
label.
it say it has? Like you said before we
I
broke,
think
right?
what
Once
was
you
it?
burn it,
31
Now,
or 41?
you can't cultivate.
I think it
you
was
can't
40.
have
40.
you can't have a cannabis flower that has THCA and 0 THC.
That's what I thought.
That's what I'm challenging
You
right here.
cannot
Right,
have.
it's gotta
You
be-
cannot have that.
it's
So,
like it's got to be like at
this is what I'm saying, they
Sam
just putting
Wilson's
what they
spot
want
where
on
you're
these labels.
pumping it
It's
into
just
it, right?
synthetically.
So,
could it be like synthetically modified?
so that's a testing issue then.
Exactly.
Absolutely,
Well,
absolutely,
yeah.
that
Is
is
that
done.
what it is? Okay.
Remember I said
Or-
after cannabis we're going to talk
or-
about distillery industries?
what?
I wonder why.
They paying off one,
That's
they
that's
paying
the
off for
point. That's the
individuals
point.
to put on the label what they want on the label.
Well,
Absolutely.
anybody, we can, yeah, you're right, but anybody can cultivate, but we were going more deep into it, like the actual genetics of testing, having it lab tested, and they saying that it's 0 THC. Now, there comes
You
the
selling hemp.
misinformation.
Right.
Absolutely.
There
That's
was
what I'm
some
saying, it is
information.
hemp.
Yeah, I know. We understand what you're saying, brother. We just saying
Yeah,
that,
it just-
but it takes a step further than them just doing
Even
that.
hemp is going to have, if you have hemp that has THCA, it's going to have THC too.
It's all
It's going
cannabis.
to have THC too, whether it's 0.3%, it's still
Something.
going to have
It's gonna be there.
be there. Absolutely.
Right, but there's got to be trace amounts.
Absolutely.
Yeah, but
Right,
they can't
okay,
sell
I
you.
get it,
But
I
they
get
can't
it.
sell you and tax you on hemp. Listen, y'all.
I
They
get
fucking
they
They're
just
tax-
have
they're
to,
gonna-
the
they're
newest
gonna
law
tax you
is
on
they're
hemp.
They're messing
They're
up.
gonna tax you on it.
This,
THC
we know that, but
percentage
what
now
we're
at
saying is
dispensaries in
this is
Illinois,
a
right?
cannabis tax, a
I
marijuana
stopped by an
tax.
Illinois dispensary.
Mhm.
That's
On
why he
hemp.
has the receipt.
Yeah.
So that
But
means
this on him.
that's falsified
But I won't
information,
smoke it
Exactly.
if I
and
grow
then
it. If I don't grow it, I don't smoke
maybe
it.
that's why the state is complicit with it then,
So they
because they still getting the taxing money. They don't care.
And hence, that's why I say you have to keep them separate. So then that way, if you're gonna get cannabis tax, then it should be cannabis. If you're gonna get hemp tax, which is something totally separate, it should be totally separate.
But why would the state? Why would the state do that when
Because
they
may
can
be
get
fuck-
35%
So, and
tax
again,
on
this
that?
Just be
on,
thinking,
But
and
it's
without
Not the plant that they
But
give a fuck about.
it's
The
not.
plant. It's who's selling
Selling
it.
it. Absolutely.
and
Because that's
and the
what- that was
money
Joe-
that they're
right,
collecting.
That was Joe's whole point. Was that his point was that he bought this at a dispensary,
hmm And he
that-
paid that
and he
35% tax
paid
on
the
it
dispensary tax on the
because
the
it was
percentage.
above 35%
Exactly.
THC.
So that's I mean
And
that's
it's
part of
so,
it.
so
my
then,
God.
like,
But
like
But they
everything's
probably not paying that
masquerading
tax
as
to
a
the
hemp.
to the
He's just
city.
like, look,
I mean,
look,
to the
I-
states.
No, but here's
because
why.
it's hemp.
But no,
So whoever
no.
go to the dispensary needs to really
It's
take
a
a
loophole
look
for
Right.
them.
at what they get.
They try to
If
use
that's
Look on
why
that
they
receipt
wanna
Start a
that's
new
in the bag. He
trend.
paid
Look at what you get.
35%.
Hold on,
THC,
hold on,
tax
hold on.
THC.
But did
Hold
they
on.
pay the
We have
tax
to-
to
we
the
got two
state?
conversations.
One conversation going at a time, right? Two conversations. I will not be
The
able to
room
edit
is split in
this.
half right now on two different.
Well, okay.
We're not
We
yelling
look
at
at the
each other.
receipt.
We're having two
Pull
different
out the receipt.
conversations.
Joe, can you pull out your receipt?
Yeah, feel free.
No, the receipt.
So we just want to see what tax did you pay on that product?
On
Did you pay the 35% tax fee on that?
see, Don Shula, 3.5 grams,
Down, shoot.
35%.
Wow.
So that's what they're saying. The state don't care.
Right.
They
they-
still
oh,
getting
and,
their 35% tax on
They
it.
just
All
put
they
it in
care-
as
By
a
the way,
loophole.
all
now.
the state
good sir,
cares about
I
is
called
anything
my
with a
backup.
tax
They
rate.
have one.
What you mean? No, I'm good.
Oh, I was gonna say.
No,
I
Oh,
got
you
enough-
just had-
I have a
if you
second
want to-
jar.
Yeah, if you want to smell.
He
it.
said he has an
Yeah.
open one if you want to
no,
see
but I
it.
thought you wanted me to smoke, but no, I didn't. But
Say
I
it.
I want to
Smell
check
it.
it.
Yeah,
I got
she
a,
wants
I got a
to
backup jar. I just had to go check.
All right.
Right, you said you want to smell it.
They just
You
wanna
see, it
open
goes
it.
back to that's why it's so important for them to be able to control hemp, so that they can take the
Smell
hemp
to it.
and sell it
But Vince
at the
Bass,
35%.
you're right, but they
Yeah.
will never be able to control hemp. It's already federally.
No, you're right. No, they won't.
So
But that's what
it's-
their attempt
It,
is.
it's all of this state legislation, especially when it comes to
It's
the
problematic.
industrial hemp, is a
Absolutely.
Gotta push
gross
it down.
Oh,
waste
okay, I'm
of a
like,
gross waste of
child.
time.
Okay, right.
A gross waste of time because it'll go through the channels, and then the federal the federal judge will come back and make the law invalid because it's our you can't regulate a state can't regulate.
Now, if it's saying 40%, I got a long drive home.
So,
And this is why everybody
Like, from what
going
I've-
to
what
the
I've noticed with
dispensary,
it.
because they're selling this,
is
and
exactly
they think they're
that.
getting gas.
Yeah,
You know
they
what I mean?
give the product that like shops like yours are trying to sell.
What's
They're
good?
selling that
that's
for
New Era
a much higher
non-Sheila.
price,
Yeah,
and telling people that it's a different
What's the
product.
nose on it, Vince?
it's
Huh?
nice.
What's the nose on it?
It's
Is it good?
nice.
Oh yeah,
It's nice. You know, I always tell you, if it's good, it's good. You know what I'm saying? If it's nice, it's nice.
It's
Yeah.
soundproof.
Yeah.
childproof.
It's no-
Push it.
It smells nice.
Push it real good.
And the smell.
How's it smell?
That
She's
don't
smelling
smell
it now. You can't hear her smelling it, so I'm telling you. She's
I'll add in smelling sound
did watch
effects,
that.
right?
It don't smell like.
I
It
don't
doesn't
smell.
smell
no,
like
that's already opened.
straight hemp.
This is just for this
Yeah,
purposes
that's-
right
right
now
here, that's just for
on
this.
camera for us to a professional like yourself to know, because like I said, for me, it's I can't tell.
What do you
I
think?
I feel like an asshole.
I think
I
it's
can
yeah,
smell it from all the way
exactly
over here.
what they say it is.
Again,
That's THCA,
Consumer.
and that one side
Yep.
take a fire to it, like that. If I took this lighter
Uh-huh.
that Joe has, and I light
Yeah,
that,
and-
and I
and-
light that bud, then
can.
it becomes THC.
It becomes THC.
Yes, it
So-
becomes THC. THCA does not degrade. You can keep this like this. You can have it for 3 years. It will not lose potency.
There
It will
is.
not use any. It will not lose anything. Once I light fire to it, then it becomes THC, and then that's where all the degradation starts. Everything else. It totally changes from a tetrahydrocannabinolic acid, which is THCA, into the THC, which is another cannabinoid, and it's tetrahydrocannabinoid. And there lies there two different cannabinoids.
Within the one, like, all right. So now I'm kind of lost right now. A bit more with this, like,
Yeah, because the way it was explained to us was that it was a different way of refining the same plant.
And see,
And now it seems but I mean, we were not smoking it at the Prohibition Lounge,
right?
but I did drink some. And I'm not saying that Sam failed in his challenge, but I'm just saying that I smoked a lot of different things that day, and maybe not. I don't know.
so let's say right now we're sitting here, and say I take this bud
Pressing on.
Yeah,
and I eat it.
Yeah.
Okay, it's going to, in this particular stage of me just eating the THCA, it's going to relieve pain. It's going to ease, like say I have some kind of
Not get
pain or wellness. Exactly, Doug. And I will not, there will be no psychoactivity whatsoever. The moment I light heat to it, I get a euphoric feeling. I get a high. That's when it becomes the THC. There lies the difference.
So technically, if they tested that, wouldn't it test at the 0.03?
No, it would test at whatever percentage of THCA it is first. So let's say it's 35%.
Says on the label.
Okay. I don't have my glasses.
Okay, sure.
It will test at whatever for THC, and for
There's a lot of
THCA.
things on
For
there.
THC,
Right.
it could
So-
very well be 0.3. It could be
So
in the
for-
compliant. It could be totally compliant.
So
It
for
would be
THCA,
But that's what I'm saying. It would be compliant for hemp.
1 second.
yes,
one at a time.
or yes, absolutely compliant for hemp, which would be that 0.3.
So listen what he just said.
So
over
for
there.
THCA, it's 40.891%, and for THC, it's 0.0.
And now the only thing on that I differ with that THC, it's not zero.
But right, because don't they
Because
have
THCA, remember, becomes THC.
to? Right.
So there it is. That's why I say on that labeling, I totally disagree. If we took that to the lab right now, there would be a trace of THC. You can believe that in there. So I don't know who did the labeling
Act.
or why?
Act Laboratories tested this.
And where's that at? Does it state where they're
Is
located?
that one of the
Generally,
multi-state
it says.
Yes,
operators?
that's a multi-state
Oh,
operator.
there
of
we go.
course.
That's like one of the
We rest
multi-state
our
operators
case.
testing
We
facilities.
rest
That's what
our
I'm
case.
saying.
It's one of
Like,
the biggest testing
that was my
facilities.
point.
Yes,
Like-
exactly.
They say what it is.
Absolutely.
Oh my
Absolutely.
goodness. Wasn't that in the?
And that's where it goes
So I
back
got
to the
another
science.
question. So when they radiate it to kill like mold and all these other things, would that change that test?
When they
Absolutely, it would.
radiate it?
Radiation change everything.
According to them, it doesn't.
Yeah.
Hey man,
Yeah.
radiation
Right.
change everything.
You're right.
You,
I went
you
into
can't
it.
find a
No,
plant
that was a rhetorical question.
a
Not
fruit-
just
Right.
that.
a food that you can nuke,
Mutate shit.
that you can nuke, and when you take it out, it's
I was
still the
yelling
same.
about this last
You
week.
just can't.
So
That's just like
do
cancer
we know
cells killing
what, like, the
cancer.
effects of the
Right.
radiation
Kill
on
everything
plant
around
does to
it.
the
It's
plant?
like
Good and bad.
It's like chemo.
It lessens the
Exactly.
plant. So a plant is just it's like the makeup of a human body.
Right.
Except there's a cell wall.
Exactly.
But but you know, when we was doing legislation, we wanted them to have to put that on the label
Right.
because you know they always say it's about safety, making sure you're getting the best. But they radiating it. Is that best for your body?
Absolutely not.
See,
I
but
don't
this
think-
is what I'm saying. These are the games that they're playing with us right in our face, and because our lawmakers don't understand it, they complicit.
Right, and they're
Yet.
likely not very big consumers either. I mean, a lot of these.
No, I ain't gonna say that.
no,
I ain't
I'm
gonna
not
say
saying
that.
I'm not talking about in this room, but
No,
look, are
I'm
these
talking
guys-
about in like they smoke too.
Yeah. But it should go
I
back.
do think so too. But I think they started smoking way before it ever got legalized, and now they're trying to act like.
But are they smoking the stuff they know is radiated?
But
So
Again,
nobody
they don't
knows
know.
that.
They don't
Nobody
know.
knows that.
Okay, that's
Nobody
kinda
thinks
where-
that their marijuana
Right.
is being put in a microwave to desecrate the mold or the mildew smell.
and that's
off
called
of the plant.
remediation.
Yeah, that
Remediating.
sounds awful.
When they remediate the weed, nobody wants. I would never purchase remediated weed.
I mean, if you
Did it
think about
say
it, imagine.
radiated
That's
on-
yeah,
No,
that's
it don't say it on none of them.
there.
Should
But we
say-
tried to put that into law, and the MSO shot it down.
It's
I was
like weed
told
should
by
be-
somebody
this
who
weed has
grew
been
for the
remediated. I
MSO.
agree with
Exactly,
you.
yeah.
They were
You
failing
are
at
so
a
right.
40% of their crops failed
Yeah.
testing.
Just like they have GMO and foods.
It's like-
that
yeah.
should
Exactly.
be
So
out
it's
of
like
the
getting
bottle.
You are
like
so
an old
right.
piece of bread that has
Right.
mold on there, throwing some radio waves at it, and then saying that hey, now it's good to eat for you again. And like,
Absolutely.
Would anybody actually
Like-
eat this right
like-
now? Like,
Exactly.
They do,
Yeah.
and
I know.
they do
They
mow,
would.
and guess what happens?
what happened?
They become ill.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah.
They
They call that
become
grade
ill.
D
More
meat.
people have become ill from eating mold. You know, from not eating, but from inhaling molded weed
Mm-hmm.
and weed with bugs. If you notice, a lot of them,
With bugs.
Yeah.
mites.
It's called
Mites.
spider mites.
Yeah,
Yeah.
mites.
Yeah.
And they think that they can remediate it,
Well, those are
like
the red ones,
like
right?
like Everett and
Black.
Joe were saying, and they radiate it. It's still there. You can break open that jar and you pull it open and look close, and you'll see those little black specks.
Yeah.
And they're mites.
Put it on their magnifying glass
So if we're a seed to sale state, how's hemp getting on shelves?
because I would
They're
say,
not monitoring that.
like I say, they can't even go and test properly. You know what I mean? They can't even go and inspect dispensaries properly. They don't have the workforce.
And you know the law
so
says
so
you can't have that license.
they don't know what. I ain't gonna say they don't know, because they might know and just don't care.
Ignorance is bliss.
Play dumb.
So when they irradiate meats, they call it cold. What is it? Cold, they either call it cold pasteurization or electronic pasteurization. They don't even tell you when they do it into a meat.
Mm-hmm.
Damn.
Because when you guys said that, I was like, I wonder,
Do they do it to meat?
That's
That's what I'm saying. That's
I
what
said,
you were
what do you
thinking.
call- and that's what I put in. I said, what do you call meat that's been irradiated? And it said the process is called cold pasteurization or electronic pasteurization. but it's
Is it
they're
edible?
irradiating it. But that's what it like, and that's what it was put in quotes.
So,
And you're
so
eating
let me
that.
say this:
Like,
if you have something that has mold on it,
Uh-huh.
which is bad
Yeah.
for anyone or
right, it's
anything,
spoiled.
and then radiation is bad for anyone or anything, unless you want to challenge it and tell me what does radiation help grow?
It helps grow cancer.
Mm-mm.
No,
Does it? No.
no.
No,
Radiation?
stop. Radiation kills cancer.
Kills,
And
also
everything
those
else
are-
What
around it.
chemo is
Yeah.
That is it.
radiation,
Well, that's true
and it's,
too. You're
but
right.
it's gonna kill
It doesn't help
everything.
Everything.
That's
It
right.
doesn't
That's
help
the
anything
thing.
grow,
it's a,
right?
It's a mini
It doesn't help
weapon of mass
anything grow.
destruction.
So what you have is a dead body in
Uh-huh.
your marijuana or in your bread that you eat.
Ooh.
It's
Right.
no longer a
You're
live
eating it, you're
organism,
smoking it, but it can't hurt you. But
Yeah.
it's there.
but it has the radiation.
No, it
in
can hurt
It-
you.
this,
Well,
yeah, it
This
Right,
is
can.
no,
simple
it can hurt
science,
you.
man.
Right,
This
I
this
said that
this
wrong.
not
Maybe that's how so like about 2-3 months ago or so, I picked up smoking after a long time of not smoking, and I smoked like for maybe about 2 weeks, and I felt like my brain was just completely shut off. It didn't matter whether I was smoking or whether I wasn't smoking anymore. For the next few weeks after, I felt like I couldn't function at all anymore. Like I felt like my brain was
That's your
completely
side
gone. Like
effect from
I'm functioning a lot better right now. Yeah, like
Oh,
I felt like I
wow.
started stuttering over my words when I was talking. Like it I hated it, and that's another reason why I decided I'm cutting it back off again because
was
of
it
that.
multiple
Like,
different? It was different times you would smoke, right? In that you was smoking the same
It wasn't.
flower, right?
You didn't, right.
What do you mean?
So say like you buy an ounce
Mhm.
and you smoking that ounce for 2 weeks.
Yeah.
Was it like that?
First of all, it wasn't even nearly that much.
No, just like where you smoke
What
a
I'm saying
different
is-
brain.
But yes, it
Once
was
you
just.
depleted your tolerance
Uh-huh.
and picked it back
It
up
wasn't-
again. Did you pick it back up again as if you still had said
No,
tolerance?
not at all. Not at all. I
Right.
started off with one, maybe 2 hits at most from it, and that was it. I wouldn't. It was just like if a friend of mine was smoking, I would just take a hit or two off of the joint or the blunt, whatever it is that he rolled that day, and that's the most of it.
Right.
And the way it affected me, at least because he bought from the bigger corporations and everything like that. Where I'd imagine they were all radiated. And
Well, I ain't gonna say they all radiated.
right,
I ain't gonna
I don't
say
know
that,
what it
but-
was. I don't know what it was.
So there was some
I'm just saying
stumbling.
for
But what
me,
I will
that was
say,
the effect I had on it.
because it could be that you overdid it,
Yeah.
right? And you
No, he
exceeded
didn't.
your what you
Tolerance.
should have been using.
Right.
It's just like I might can use 3 Tylenols,
Uh-huh.
and you only could use 1, but she could use 6. But if he took 6, he going to the hospital.
Yeah.
Right. So I'm gonna disagree with you right there because all the stumbling we had in the very beginning of this third hour that we're doing right now, Mo did 1 hit in the kitchen of my birthday blunt, and that's where all that stumbling came from. And then he just described what happens to him when he gets high. So I mean, basically, you're just not a functional stoner. Is the
He
point.
got low tolerance. Let's just say low tolerance. Let's just say he has low tolerance.
You can't handle your shit.
Okay, so that's amazing.
Just own
He
it.
went overboard. You know what I'm saying? And it took him.
Hey,
took
this
him
one
a
hit that I
couple.
took right now though, it doesn't feel like how it felt
One
like
pump
before.
chump.
I
right
felt
there.
I felt like it felt nice. I didn't feel like I got too high or anything like that. Like I feel
Until
like a
he
nice
started
buzz with
speaking.
it,
Well, that was clean flour that you had
Right.
back there.
So that's what I'm saying. Maybe like
No
the other stuff that I tried
pesticides.
before
Could have been
was
moldy.
the
Yeah.
worst one. That's
Right.
that's exactly my point. That's why again, after trying it out for a new again, it was I cut it back out. Is because I didn't like the way I felt after this. Like this right here, it feels good. Like I feel like I'm able to communicate with you
Yes.
guys over here. Whereas when I smoked the other stuff, it was every other word that I stuttered over, and I couldn't complete a sentence at all.
He could
You know?
not start the beginning of this third hour.
So with the issues going on, how do we change it or make it so
I
it's
think
better
you're
for
too
consumption
high.
of people?
Well, first of all, lawmakers got to start listening to us instead of the multi-state operators.
Who's us in this business?
The advocacy groups, the ones that actually out here that really care about safety, well-being, and making sure we putting safe product out there.
The ones that are doing it right.
The ones that's doing it right.
The ones
And
that-
we know they taking shortcuts.
Yeah.
We know they're taking shortcuts.
Because they're not hiding the shortcut.
No,
from
because
anybody.
they don't have to.
They're just
they have
hiding
no
the fact that they have
competition
to
to make them
show
do
you.
better.
You're right, and the states know that they're taking shortcuts.
Yeah.
You
Oh, I
can
guarantee
definitely
it.
believe that they've been notified. Sometimes when GTI or Cresco or somebody had molded weed, they are even notified by employees that work at these particular cultivation facilities,
In
and
our
they
opinions.
went ignored. And you know how originally in part of the compliance was that there was a person from the state that would be going out to the cultivation facilities and auditing them and doing a monitoring them. Never happened.
It was
I don't
already-
even know if today
Do they
here
do it
in
to
the
the craft
state
growers,
of Illinois. I can't speak on that, Joe, because I don't know if
Yeah.
they've ever gone
That
out
would be
to
interesting
any.
to see, like how often they go up to the MSOs
Yeah.
and the big locations versus the craft, as well as same thing for the dispensaries for the audits.
Correct.
And
Yeah.
See,
So, but I do know
we
they
can
know.
FOIA that information.
Yes.
I mean, there was a newspaper article a long time ago. Remember
When they was putting all the moldy weed, they tested it. It
21,
did a
22,
third party
they did a whole
independent.
big article in the Sun Times, and they documented and they showed it, and they were like, "Here's the testing. It said this, but we went and tested it, and it was this." So it's been done before, but like you say, once it's done, and then they do something to make a press release to say we fixed it, but then is it really fixed? Because nobody's gone back to even see that. What does it mean? It was only done for the press for right then and there to deal with it, versus actually following it all the way through.
Yeah,
I
there
mean,
used
when
to be a lab. Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, you can go.
Origo Labs. It was like one of the first, actually state labs. I think Tim Cook. It was owned by Tim Cook over north. It was purchased by Smithers, and they're still operating. But
Smithers is a
it's a lab.
it's a lab.
Yeah, it's a cannabis testing laboratory here in Chicago, and like I said, prior to that, Origo Labs owned it, but they quickly went out of business. They were one of the labs who was doing the testing at facilities, and they were reporting the molded weed, the bad weed.
Also, got kicked out for telling the truth.
Absolutely.
Oh,
Well,
wow.
like I said, they're no longer in
Right.
business.
Yes.
But I was like
Further kicked.
when I was with New Era, I was doing all the audits for their Michigan facility. So for the regulators, for the construction, throughout all of it, I dealt with all the inspectors. And tap dance I was always told was before the regulators come in, Joe, remember pull Sergeant Bilko.
Yeah.
So that's what Bob called it to me, pull Sergeant Bilko, where I had to dance around for the plant counts, what we were doing for the paperwork, for the
Yes.
showing. I mean, there were points where cameras were down, and I would have to take a screenshot of our camera system, Adobe, Photoshop, put it up so it looks like all the cameras are working because we
Oh wow.
Sergeant Bilko it, and that's kind of what they called it for how to pass regulator inspections.
It's
Because
so
again,
long
you're the
since I've
big
seen
guy,
that
so
movie.
who's going to think that they're doing that?
Exactly.
That's something that the little guy would do.
Yep.
They're going to look at the little guy.
Well,
the
they
big
gon'
guy.
they gon' over regulate us anyway, and go through with a fine tooth comb, but they allow them to continue to skirt the rules and regulations all the time.
So you
I
say
think-
it's money?
So how do
Would
we
you
train
say
them?
it's money?
It's always about money.
That's right.
All this is about money.
Oh, is this?
Bill.
And that's the whole reason that they want to shut him down, because it's affecting their bottom line. And as more people begin to understand what it can do, it's going to really start to affect their bottom line. But this come back to education. And my thing too is I feel like they know.
No, here's the thing, and I think, Mo, you asked the question, what do we do? It's the education, but it's not just educating the legislators.
Thank
It's
you.
educating
The
the
public.
public.
The public,
Yep.
the
Because
consumers,
the public
actually.
now,
Yes.
you can't run game on them, right? Because remember, I'll go back to that, you have to have a contrast.
Right.
If there's no contrast, it has to be a left to know what right is, right? So if you have that, they can say anything. But if you have the public educated in this, and then when the legislators are just trying to say whatever the talking points that they're given by the MSOs, and the public is like, no, that's not right, and then now there's a bigger fight, because now you're not fighting the advocacy groups, the lobbyists, and all that. You're fighting the constituency. And when you're talking about we need money, we need to raise property taxes, but then here's a whole nother industry that's viable, that it's a multi-billion or trillion-dollar industry. Stop looking at the recreational and look at how this plant is really effective for the full body. And once people understand and they get out of the fact that it's to get high and you want to make money. No, it's really to help people. It's a health and it's a wellness piece. That once you start to show that and the people see that, then they're going to start buying more products and they're going to start asking for more. And they're going to go in and say, wait a minute, if this is THCA, I want some regular. Now they can't spend them. You know what I mean? So an educated consumer is hard to deal with because the customer's always right. And now they're educated, you can't spend it. You know what I mean?
Who was it that said the most dangerous thing is an informed electorate?
Exactly.
Right?
Exactly.
Like that's the if
education is everything.
How can you can't lie to people that
know.
No.
But how do you inform them when the issue is, like, in my personal experience, what I realized, and one of the reasons we're all sitting here is because the press and media don't want to talk about anything unless it's pushed by them.
So that's why formats like and platforms like this are important, as well as just in everyday conversation. So when I'm talking to people and they're like, well, how are you doing this and how are you? I'm like, because on this side, cannabis is a business, right? Hemp is a whole lifestyle. It's way bigger than that, right? But if people kind of understand that if you do this hemp, you don't have to do opioids. If you do this hemp, you can have this, you know what I mean? But again, if they don't know what they don't know. And a lot of times the influencers are the people that you speak to. You may not be the influencer on YouTube that's got 1 million fans, but you've got 10 people that if Joe tells them something, Joe know what the hell he's talking about. So if those 10 people, it's like an old school head and shoulder commercial, and they tell 2 friends, and they tell 2 friends, and so on and so on and so on, because at that point, it's not a public message, it's a personal message. And what do people like to do? They like to inform, oh, you don't know nothing about this, and they like to spread information. Yeah. Everybody wants to make it seem like they know something that you don't know. Yeah. Right. And when you're challenged and you give them some good information, and then they run tell somebody else, what they're going to do? Run tell that. And they're going to talk to somebody else. So again, we don't have to look at trying to tackle and kill Rome in a day. It's the day-to-day fight that you get, because those are the people who can just get under the skins of, you never know. They'll be at a table with a legislator and talking about how this helped my body the whole 9, and they try it, and now we've been trying to get them for 3 months. But in one conversation from somebody that they know and trust, they'll look at it.
It's winning the many small battles.
That's how you win wars.
Yep.
It's the little battles and the fights.
Yep.
It's inch by inch. You ain't gonna get the whole. It's easier to hit a single than it is to hit a home run. 3 singles, you get a run.
That's true.
Me becoming a lobbyist, like, just really opened my eyes up to not just the cannabis industry, the failures, but in every aspect of our lives. It's the same game being played over and over in every sector.
Literally.
It's in the same sectors, in healthcare, in education. It's in every sector. The same game is like they got a playbook and they just run it on everything. And we, as the people that vote for these people, don't understand the process. It was the reason they took civics out of school.
Right.
It's the reason they shut down all the trade schools, because too many people was getting educated. And then black people started opening up their own business off going to trade schools. It's like, no. You're supposed to be a worker. You're not supposed to be trying to open up your own business. And that's where it's like, well, we got to stop teaching them how to do this stuff. We just want them to buy our stuff. Just buy from me. That's all I need you to do. And the same thing is going along with cannabis right now. They don't want us to get into the nuances of this stuff.
The science
But can
of
you?
it.
But do you
biology
honestly
of it.
think,
They
Doug,
want
that
us to
it's
listen to
really
what
that
they
they
say.
don't want us in the nuance of things? Because let's go back down memory lane for a second. I want to go all the way back to slavery. I want to go all the way back to indigenous people, to the Indians who originally cultivated cannabis. Let's go all the way back. So I don't know if it's the nuance of us, because think back in history, we were always the sharecroppers, weren't we? Always the ones that did agriculture, cultivated the cotton, the food. We were the ones who built plantations, literally. So I don't
Built
know.
off of.
Yes.
But that was off fear.
What, that we did that out
Where they
of
were-
fear?
No,
Control.
No.
What Sis is saying is the fact of the matter is that we did it.
We did it.
They
We were
didn't
the
do
ones
it. They sat on the
responsible for
porch.
it. Right. You
know, they
were
traveled.
actually
We were the one
that's
that
what
took care of
slavery
the
is. We
plantations.
were the ones who built.
Well, we
built
weren't inventing
and-
mostly all this stuff too.
Absolutely.
Massa
do
wasn't
it.
out there telling you like, hey, don't plant that corn like that.
Yeah, or make sure
Like,
it's
Massa
7
didn't
inches
know
apart. No, that
What
was
the
a
fuck he
skill.
was doing? All he knows he wants your ass to make sure that corn
Yeah,
came
that
up.
was a skill set. And a
And
lot.
that's what she's saying.
Yeah, and a lot of the old cultivators back in the day, the black market, when before, and like I say, I know everybody says that criminalizing marijuana, and there was this war on drugs. It was a war on people, and it was a war on black and brown people.
Yeah.
Wesley, it was a war on black. It was a war on black America, and I won't hesitate to state, state what it was, and it was again a control mechanism.
Absolutely.
Very
I
much,
agree with you 100%.
Very much a
And-
control mechanism. And let's be real clear. If, let's just say it's the state of Illinois, we used the state of Illinois program, and we used this thing they quote unquote call social equity. Let's say I came through, and everybody in the state of Illinois who filled out an application and wanted to have a cannabis license, I'm giving you $5 million, and I'm going to give you $5 million, and you $5 million, and you $5 million, and everybody who wants to cultivate cannabis. There was such a large fear factor because, and I'm only stating facts. Oh my God, it would have been a game changer.
Yeah.
Because there would have been the opportunity for, you have all these people who were affected by the war on drugs and who were targets of the war on drugs. Don't you think we could and would have cultivated some of the best freaking
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
product
Hands
that you
down.
could imagine?
Hands
And
down.
there lies that fear factor. Oh my God, those group of people, they excel at everything. Look, they've taken over basketball, they've taken over golf, they take over baseball. Oh,
Tennis.
well, what can they, tennis, what can they not do? Of course, they're going to give you some product that's going to literally blow your mind. So again, we're back in the same boat where you have suppression.
Mm-hmm.
You suppress the people you most fear.
Yeah.
It's just a normal, it's just a normal human response.
Yeah.
And we happen to be that group.
Yeah.
But we also
Pretty much.
is too forgiving as people.
You think forgiving, or we just don't fight hard enough?
That's my point. That's what I'm getting to. So we always adjust and adapt to whatever they throw at us. They change some stuff, we be like,
It's not
I'm
like
still gonna make my way regardless of
Right.
whatever they do
Right.
to me. I'm still gonna find a way to get around it and still do me.
And that's like surviving. But
Absolutely,
It's like
we
you
always
gotta
in survival
survive,
mode.
right.
Though. We always in survival
and that's
mode.
stressful to be
Right.
always in survival
But-
mode.
But then you go back to Charles Darwin, survival of the fittest. Why not be them?
Yeah,
Why
but
not
it's
be
a
them?
mindset though.
But I think, and it goes
It's
back
a
to
mindset.
again, when you talk education,
Yes.
again,
It's power.
there's
It
different
fails for lack
ways,
of knowledge.
right? And there's
Yes.
different ways of fighting. You see what I'm saying? It's like Bruce Lee used to say, you know, the art of fighting without fighting. You know what I mean? You move like water. You see what I'm saying? We don't know that. We know aggression. We know to do this. We just gonna tell them something.
We gonna bowl
So
right
quote
through
unquote,
it.
you're saying, say the statement that you just said.
Which
Bruce
one?
Lee. You said Bruce Lee
He
stated
says
the
like
art of
move
fighting
it's
without.
the art of fighting without fighting.
So, wouldn't that be also known as mind fucking?
Yes.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And it's like you, and
Absolutely.
again, so it's like it's one scene where it's like Bruce Lee, this guy just wants to fight him because he knows I'm better than him, but Bruce is like, you're really not, and if I beat you up, it's really not proving nothing. So I'm gonna show you that I'm better than you without even swinging on you. And the guy was just so amped up, and he literally said, "Okay, you want to fight me so bad? Come on, follow me out here." They're in the middle of an ocean, and he's like, if you're so good, no, we ain't gonna fight on this boat because we may get in trouble. Come on. We're gonna fight on this little boat right here. A little rowboat. Here, get on. Dude gets on the boat. Bruce Lee kicks the boat out and is holding it by a string. And the guy's like, you pussy, what are you doing? Come on, fight me. He's like, I am.
I won. I win.
I'm fighting you right now. Because like right now, I can drop this rope right
You're
here.
gone.
And I ain't swung not one time. And this ship is going to keep going that way. And your rowboat and you are going to be in the middle of the ocean fighting the ocean. And again, he gave the rope to some kids that this guy had been bullying. And was like, here. And they're playing, laughing, like, and he's pissed off. And so now when that guy sees Bruce, his mind is so fucked that when it comes to a real fight, he can't even process because he's already been beat, knowing that I've been beat. So again, if we learn how to fight without fighting, and there's a different way of, because again, they see you coming, so you can't come like that, right? Most wars that are won, you ain't winning no in the trenches. You see what I'm saying? When they won the original revolution, man, it was because they was doing all kind of shit. While the Britons are lined up, man, they shooting from the trees and all kind of places, right? So again, you learn to adapt to win. And again, it goes back to us being a resilient people, but those that know, we have to understand and learn how to communicate to those that don't know and educate them on this is how you would really win this fight. Because there's a difference between fighting and winning. And a lot of us like to just fight, and they know you're going to fight, but you ain't going to win.
You're right.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what we're not winning, and we it's time to start winning. And so to your question, when you said what do we do, like how do we approach this? You know, how do we make a difference, right? Well, first is educating each other and the public. Second is exposing the lies. And third is getting rid of the politicians that's not working for the people, but
That's
just
right.
working for the company.
Do their job.
Absolutely.
Simple.
Most of them.
Yeah. It's not all of them,
Yeah.
but it's too many of them.
Absolutely
Yeah.
right.
Yeah.
Anyone
Yeah.
that's been there
And
for a minute.
It's time to
Pretty
make change.
much.
Like I tell
To
people all the
answer your
time,
question.
if you look outside your door and your community has not changed and has gotten worse, you
That's
need
not to be
different
from you.
representation.
That's right.
Exactly.
It's that simple. You need different representation. We keep voting off name recognition. Oh, this been my alderman or this person for 20 years. You know, my mom and my daddy voted for them. But your neighborhood look like shit.
Or their dad.
Right. And your neighborhood look like
or
shit.
Let me say this: the neighborhood that's next to your neighborhood, you got a fairly decent neighborhood, but the ones that's east of you, or west of you, or
North
south
of
of you, or north of you, they're bad, right? And the politicians that's running those areas, they're not putting into them, and so you keep having these robberies, car thefts, break-ins, because after they finish demolishing their neighborhood, they got to go somewhere else.
Right.
If they didn't decimated everything that's around them, Now they coming to where it's more goods. So people can look at it as if, oh, that's not happening over here. But the truth of the matter is just a matter of time. And I say this for the audience to understand. You shouldn't look at a community that's next to you in ruin because you're not safe. It's like if somebody's shooting a rifle 100 yards from where you live, but this rifle can go 700 yards. You feel safe?
And that's why
mentality change.
and that's why you have the crime levels that you have now. These crimes have always been, but it's
Yes.
because now they're going where it's sweet.
Right.
Up north, downtown. You know what I mean? Because like now out in our hood, police don't respond because they wait until it happens. But so they're like, man, if I run up on somebody out on the south side, they may have a conceal and carry and a gun just like me, and they may know me or know somebody that know me. But if I go on the north side, where most of those cops like to eat Dunkin' Donuts and they on the easy track and don't have to worry about stuff, I'm gonna get away. And so therefore it's an easier pickings, and that's why you have more crime happening in these communities because it's sweet. Because they know it's less resistance. It ain't. That's how they hitting 6 and 7 and 8 people in a hour and a half,
Right.
2 hour span
Right.
within
Weekends
5 miles
or whatever. Yeah. Because I
I
mean,
don't care. You
that's
take $1
once a
billion
week, right?
out of any industry, it's gonna cause a problem. And
Right.
that's what weed did. It took $1 billion out of the street. Like, people didn't just start smoking weed when it became legal. They were already smoking weed.
Correct.
They was on 290 up and down like this.
Right, it was a
And
market.
55 and like
All
they was
up in the
coming into the hood
projects.
getting their weed
So-
and everything else.
So,
Like,
Doug, you still don't think that right now the black market is not benefiting greatly from the legalization, the states legalizing weed?
I don't think they not eating like they used to eat.
Ooh,
I
really?
gotta.
I think
it's-
they're
I
eating.
disagree.
I
No.
think they're eating better.
No,
Yeah.
here's no.
Because here's what happens.
I-
You know, old man gets back into smoking weed after not doing it since he was in high school or whatever. You know, it's
Because
been-
it's legal now.
right. But now, 35% tax in Illinois. You know, hey, it's a quarter of a lot of what people are going in there and spending.
Exactly.
So, oh hey, guy down the
Support your
street,
local
he doesn't
weed man.
You know,
support your local
This,
weed
this,
man.
let me say this. This go to show you how uneducated our government is about selling drugs.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? Because all they have to do is put the blacks and the Hispanics in the game and charge the 35%, and they'll get less pushback.
Yeah,
Yeah.
They getting the pushback they getting because they trying to be greedy
right,
and take it all for themselves.
right.
And people like, man, I ain't giving you that shit. I'm going over here and support my
Right.
local person.
right.
I was just telling Debbie earlier. I mean, you know, I'd always heard Michigan had great prices and great buds, you know, but,
And they do.
you know, I had a dispensary that was in between me and my way home from work, and, you know, it was almost like,
In Michigan?
no,
Oh.
in Illinois,
Okay.
right? Like right now. But a few weeks ago, I went up to New Buffalo for a family thing.
Stop
It
right
was
there.
did not feel as long of a ride as I remember.
Well, Debbie,
then when I
I'm gonna
went
go back
into
to your question.
the first store I
when
went
you
into.
say, you know, do you think the streets eating like they used to?
Absolutely. And you know why?
But they eating different ways now.
I was about to
Yeah.
say,
Right.
I want to
A lot
They
of
yes.
eating
people-
different
They're
ways
a
now.
lot of
They're
people
eating
in line
different
with
ways,
me
but when it
had
comes
Illinois
to
plates.
selling,
Yes.
absolutely they did. And when it comes to, let's just say, eating off of the
The land.
legalized the marijuana adult use. Come on, guess who they're selling.
That's who they
The
getting their supply from
MSOs
them.
are selling it.
That's what I'm
back
saying.
door
They
to
getting
them. So
supplied
they
by
are
them.
eating better, much better.
A select group are eating
right.
better.
That's,
Right.
That's
A select group of
Right.
them are eating better.
All
But
of
the people that's on the lower of the totem pole, they not eating like they used to. They
Right,
not.
but look, man, I
Not
again,
off of this,
I still
not
gotta
off of this.
disagree
Straight up.
because I walk when just this is my one and only Michigan experience, right? When I got up to my turn in line, I said, "Hey man, how much can I get?" He goes, "How much money you got?"
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I go, "I can walk pounds out the door if that's what you're looking
That's
for."
right.
Damn.
Okay? Now this is shit that is according to their statistics, their testing. I got, it's, the flour is, looks like sprayed snowballs from when you were growing up, and, looks like those fucking floured cookies from Christmas, And it's like, I don't know, but fuck, that looks good, right? Anyway, that's what, and there's just piles of it all over these Michigan dispensaries, right? And they are not bending their customers over on taxes. And the guy I went to, he was like, yo, yeah. So I maxed out immediately on Infuse, because there is a max. He's like, all right, well, you did just max out on Infuse. So he's like, I'm going to cash you out now, and we're going to start another receipt.
Absolutely. They start another thing. So
And
they
don't
ring
talk,
up.
and the dispensaries don't talk to each other. So this just intersection,
Go
the
over
very
here.
first exit, going in the fucking
Go next door.
exit, there are 5 fucking dispensaries.
You can hit
So
all
even if
5.
one of them told me I hit a limit, I can go across the street or next door and get, sometimes not even leaving the parking lot. You know what I mean? Like, they're sharing parking lots to where I walk over and I'm like, and it's, like 15 disposable vaporizer pens for $75.
Right.
Where'd you go to Herb Cannabis?
I went to all of them.
Man, you can go get concentrate.
I don't have
For
to see
10
my
bucks.
local
Oh,
weed
it's
man
crazy.
until Christmas.
It's actually crazy now. But I think, so the guys I know who used to do it in the Ziploc bags are now just selling Colorado and California. So I think it's just evolved and upgraded.
Yeah.
And they're probably all coming out the back door because a lot of them are getting it directly from the.
Well, but that's
places.
that's the moldy stuff or the old stuff that they need to get rid of.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But that's how
Yeah.
they're surviving. Let's say even in California right
Doesn't
now.
matter.
you gotta be
Because
careful
then they're turning
about.
around,
That's
driving
making
it
it-
down to Chicago and
that's-
selling it for
that's-
$60 an eighth.
That's how they're
Exactly.
staying
Their
afloat.
business.
Yeah.
So many cultivation facilities have closed the door, literally because they just the money. They don't have the cash to continue. The ones that are still in business and making money, it's not because they're selling to dispensaries or they have this big roster of people that they're selling. It's because they're selling right out that back door. They're not paying the high taxes.
Right.
They're not paying, all of that. They're selling it to the black market and they're making money hand over fist.
Right.
If I can
Absolutely.
sell a pound
Yeah,
for
for them,
$1,400,
it's easy
for
for them.
$1,400 and that's clear and free money, no taxes, no metric, no biotrack.
Now imagine doing that
they're
at
killing the
25 bucks
game.
an hour and not caring how much you're selling out the door.
Right.
Because that's what a bud tender in Michigan makes is probably 25, 30 bucks an hour.
They do.
And, again, the guy said I can walk pounds out the door. Everybody, there was not a single Michigan license plate in the parking lot.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Cigarettes used to be.
They
over by
already.
the
That's
bush
first thing they
room.
ask you where you
Exactly.
Little
from.
drive-
Right
They don't have to ask. Hey, man,
Trailer
how's the
tractor
cups?
right by
Yeah, hey, I heard Derek
Yeah, 'cause
Rose was
everybody-
He had his
president,
license.
you know?
They know where.
Yeah, but I'm just talking about the security guys. When they be walking, they be like, "Where you from?"
Right. Hey,
Most people have like a bear shirt on, bull shirt.
yes. I
Some
ran into one
kind
of
of
my
from wherever
friends
they
from high school. I
from.
ran into his dad in line. I was like, I know that fucking guy. He was. All he said was like, "I'm not staring in this line."
Man,
He talked to me
you
for
can
10
go
minutes
get
left.
a 15 1-gram concentrate for $150.
No, that's
And then come back here and do what? Sell.
Flip it.
Exactly.
Why no?
because you can pick it up for 75 to 90 if you go to Battle Creek.
Right.
Well, yeah.
Yeah, the further you go into Michigan, the further north you go into Michigan, it gets cheaper. And not
And
only
the
that,
gas
but
is
not
cheaper.
only that, they
Word
give
to
you
the
free
wise.
product.
You drive 2 hours into Michigan, and you get an hour to your
He's
drive
talking
to
about how
Michigan.
cheap New Buffalo is, and that's one of the most expensive cities in the state for product. Like New Buffalo is one of the most expensive because of Chicago. Those border towns are the most expensive.
Yeah, they make
and
those
we're
are-
still crying how
Right.
great it is.
Yeah.
Right. I mean, that's our
So why is there
weed and
the
our
difference?
guns come from the same places.
Tourism.
Tourism.
Us.
What do you mean? So with Illinois being taxed so high versus Michigan being taxed
Like you
so
said,
low.
greed.
Okay,
But
It just-
Greed.
Michigan sales
I mean,
tax
you can ask any
automatically
bartender.
is 6%,
Right.
which is much lower than Illinois state sales tax.
But why is
and
it
then you
lower?
have all
Okay,
those
all right.
other different taxes that the state of Illinois has taxed
County.
on top of that.
Right.
Uh-huh.
And see, that
Virginia
doesn't
County.
exist like that in Michigan.
Downtown.
and this is what I'm saying.
Don't buy
why
anything downtown. There's a downtown tax.
certain parts of the black market ain't eating like they used to, because you can drive there yourself and get it cheaper than what they gonna sell it to you on the street. So why wouldn't you just drive over there and buy it yourself and bring it back? You can go buy your whole month's worth.
I just told
$300. $300. You can go over there and get your whole month's supply.
I'm 39. I just went to Michigan for the very first time and learned what I can do.
Right.
Now, when I'm done with my Michigan shit, am I gonna get back in the fucking car and drive through 7 fucking tolls to get? I honestly, unless
No,
I have
you're
another
not. No,
reason
you're
to
not.
go there, or if I have somebody that wants to go to Michigan with me, I'm not
But
doing it.
if you live
I'm
in
probably
Chicago,
calling
that's an
somebody in
hour
this
drive.
room.
People, black people drive 2 hours to eat.
Yeah.
You don't have to do that in Chicago.
To get some good food, man, drive 2 hours, man.
I get it when you live in, what was it, Oglesby, or what? It's one of those.
Oswego.
Oswego. I get it when you live
Yeah,
in Oswego. You gotta drive
that's a
2
2.5
hours.
hour
I
drive for
get
me.
it. Yeah, because it's there and back, right? That's what you're saying?
No,
I thought
2.5
one
hours,
way.
2.5 back, right?
It's not 2.5 hours from Oswego.
2
to
hours and
Chicago.
20 minutes. Are you going to tell me? I drove it.
And that's because they're not using hemp bricks on the fucking road.
Oh, shit.
I go over there with $300, man.
Mike is hilarious.
Look, I probably will,
Anybody
but, I mean,
who
again,
listens to the 3-part episode is gonna get that joke.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Just from the beginning, yeah.
Because you can make bricks and roads out of hemp. Flashback.
Yeah.
There you go. Go to
All
one
right,
episode
we
earlier.
are at the last couple of minutes though of the
Closing
episode.
remarks to everyone then. I don't
Yeah.
have anything you want to say, anything else you want to put out? I mean, I know we'll probably talk again at different times. But
We're absolutely going to talk
Well,
again.
I just want to say that I really enjoyed our conversation, the environment, the ambience, and I really look forward to us working together with the general public and learning more about the effects of it, how it makes people feel, and educating the general public about how our government is playing a different ball game than what we, the general public, needs to be played for our state to be successful. They're actually hurting us as a state. They're hurting our children. It's like they're causing a riot in our dreams that's spilling over into our everyday life. And so I really look forward to us really making something big out of this and taking it to the next level. And, ultimately, information leads to lawsuits.
Oh, I know. That's true. It's all about making that noise.
That's
And
right. The squeaky wheel gets the oil, right?
Mm-hmm.
Ideally.
So I want to echo my brother's sentiment. Like I said, I appreciate. Like I said, we go back a long way. 72 hours, right?
Exactly.
72 hours. Just met you guys.
3,
And it's almost
4
like
hours.
exactly 72 for him, 3 for you,
3,
2.5 for you.
Respect
Right?
the
Exactly. But just from us, the goal of us having the conversation, and now it actually building up into something that I think is what's needed. Because again, God makes no mistakes, right? And at the end of the day, there's information that the people need that we know that regular media is not going to give. and there's a lot of information for those who are seeking that information. And what we've been doing as a group, as a coalition, as individuals, is just trying to do right. Just honor what you said, and the only way you can do that is to be accountable. And there's no way of being accountable if people don't even know what accountability actually is, because they're not educated enough to even know what that is.
And what's the coalition website again?
Cannabis Equity, IL.org, and then our social media, Canna Equity IL.
Thank you. Everyone go follow and support and share.
Absolutely.
Absolutely. Become a member of the coalition. I want to thank Joe and you guys for doing this. It's been a lot of laughter, but a lot of serious talk as well. And when I spoke to you the other day, I was like, if we're not going to tell the whole truth, nothing but the truth, I don't want to do this. That's what I'm here for.
Right.
We're going to
drive
tell
2
the
hours
whole
of
truth
bullshit.
and nothing but the truth. It's time.
Do you feel like you've accomplished at least some of that right now?
Huh?
Do you feel like you've accomplished at least some of that right now?
Absolutely, but this just the tip of the iceberg.
Right.
We ain't nowhere near where we need to be.
Just like a power series. We got a whole bunch of episodes coming up.
So
Chapters.
No.
I'm in this
We're
until
booked
the
out.
last license is given out, and to hold the state accountable for what they promised us, and just to educate our communities on what's really going on, all this fake stuff that they putting out, talking about we the most equitable, how, where. It's time to expose, and I just appreciate you guys giving us the opportunity to come on here and tell our truth.
Yeah, we appreciate you guys actually taking the distance of the drive, especially.
I can't thank you,
You know,
enough
like
for
you
all
guys-
the swag you guys dropped off too.
Oh yeah.
Have fun.
Really?
Yeah, I want to say this, and I mean, wanted to say it because I was just thinking about the people who was locked up for marijuana, and it bothers me when the state say the individuals who was affected by the war on drugs, they don't have a clue how to deal marijuana a case like that, but that's not true, because these are the same individuals who was prosecuted, who the state, they said they made millions of dollars on the streets illegally. So just imagine what they could do legally if they was given a chance to do it. So I just want to definitely say that. And thank you guys for having us. And I definitely want to come back on here again.
Of course.
Absolutely. And I'd just like to thank you all again for having me kind of hijack your podcast, but it was very enjoyable, and I hope next time we'll touch on the difference between rescheduling and descheduling.
Okay.
That's the first time I heard that.
Yes, marijuana, and there's a difference, and people don't understand the difference because none of that actually makes a difference. The only thing that does make a difference is decriminalizing
Okay.
marijuana.
Nobody should be locked up for weed.
Nope.
Yeah.
And none of the
We can all
charges
agree
they
with that,
incurred
absolutely.
Yes.
when they pulled them over for it.
Yep.
Yeah.
So thank you.
And now you can't do that. At least not
Thank
in
you for
Illinois.
letting us convince you to
No.
come up here.
One more thing.
It's always it's always a loophole.
I'm sure they'll find one.
The loophole is with raw cannabis and burnt cannabis.
Man,
How could you tell the difference?
All right.
I don't know.
Millie, what you got?
I
Hold
just
on.
want to put out Mia's Heart again, miasheart.com.
Yes.
Yeah,
Yes.
Mia's hard.
If you want the-
.com.
Exactly. If you want to infuse pickles, you want to infuse butters, you want to infuse
Pickles.
oils. I mean, the sky is not the limit. It go
Butters.
beyond.
All
Give
right.
us a call.
Anything
Shout
you want.
out.
Remember they said
We is talking about the infused mic. We about to infuse
Shout
mic.
out to Illinois too.
773. What's the number? I'm sorry.
just use the
I'm
rewind
amplified
button.
right
Get
now.
that.
Yes, 5.
Go to miasheart.com.
Yes.
We're past the time right now, though.
Yeah,
we do
absolutely.
Have to close out right
Let's
now.
do our,
So,
I want to say thank everybody for coming.
Thank you
Absolutely.
for coming here.
You know,
Of
can't
course,
wait to
definitely.
talk to you guys again.
Yes.
And whoever you may be,
Yeah.
bring around,
We got
you know,
people to
the
bring.
atmosphere, the orbit we got going on here.
Shout out to Brittany and Co for setting up the
Absolutely.
Brittany,
Brittany
Brittany,
and Shaw
introductions
for bringing
and
the
the
guests.
interviews.
Shout out, Brittany.
Yup.
Shout out
Shout
Brittany.
out, Brittany.
Absolutely.
Shout out 312
Yes.
all.
Thank you
Everyone,
for
shout out
making
to
this
Brit
happen,
to all.
Britt.
No, this has been Mojo Mike with the Clover Club. Signing off.
All right.
Catch out.
Big evil falls, truth is loud. We're the voice unbound.
Sounds good.